What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Star Wars... Okay, wait, hold on one second. That is better. Today's video is all about my favorite subject of all time, Nintendo 64. And I know it's like Star Wars is my favorite, love Lord of the Rings, all these things are true about me. But one thing I've always loved, no matter what, something I've always enjoyed is Nintendo, baby. So I literally just broke out this shirt from this tube that it came in all the way from Tokyo, Japan, to talk about this video today here on the Star Wars Closet from wherever you are. Before we jump into this, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like button, all the things. Join the high ground and be a part of what we are doing here at the Star Wars Closet. You can follow us on X, Instagram, all the places, all the things. We can't wait to dive more into these videos. And on today's video, we are talking about one of my favorite subjects, Nintendo, but not just Nintendo, Nintendo 64. My all-time favorite gaming system because it's the one I grew up with. Therefore, I have this nostalgic kind of bias towards it, but that's okay, that's fair. We all have that in some regard. And not only have I loved playing Nintendo 64 my entire life, it's the first gaming console I ever owned, it's the one I grew up on, I still have the one that I got when I was like 6 or 7 years old. One of the things that still remains true to this day is that the 4 main Star Wars titles that came out on Nintendo 64 are still awesome to this day. I still play them, I still love them, and today we're gonna talk about them. So grab some blue milk, a lightsaber, and your favorite hand-cramping Nintendo 64 controller and join me as we talk about the Star Wars Nintendo 64 games. If you are like me, Nintendo holds a special place in your heart. There's something about these like polygon, not so great looking, but yet still awesome looking characters and levels in a Nintendo 64. Those blocky polygons where all the hands look the exact same, they hold a special place in my heart. Not to mention the iconic controller that to this day is the reason I am double jointed. And we've played all the classics. If you've played Nintendo 64, you know them all. Mario 64, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, a lot of Mario. Zelda, on and on and on. But there are 4 main Star Wars titles that we don't talk about enough that I love to this day. And that's crazy that there's only 4. There's really not as many as you might think. You hear the title Nintendo 64 Star Wars games and you think,
oh yeah, how many are there?
There's only 4. But each one has its highs and each one has its lows. I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, and everything in between. Let's do this together. We're going to go into a chronological order here. That way you don't have to know what my favorites are. Actually, I've just changed my mind. You will know what my favorites are. And not only that, I actually did a top 5 Star Wars games of all time that I put out there. I'm probably going to redo that list because it's fluid. You know why? Because it's my list. Okay? It's mine. So I can change it anytime I want. However, I did do a video about my top 5 Star Wars video games, so make sure you check that out. Hey guys, hold up real quick because I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Soundstripe. Soundstripe is a website that I've been using for a long time to easily find and license high quality music, sound effects, and stock video footage. Before Soundstripe, it took me seemingly forever to find good quality music. But Soundstripe has amazing search and filter capabilities, pre-populated playlists, and many other features that have made finding and licensing music painless. If you're ready to level up your content, check out Soundstripe using the link in the description and offer code The Star Wars Closet for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you so much, Soundstripe, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. But if you want to hear my rankings of these 4 games, stick around to the end of the video. You don't want to miss it. First up is Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, released in 1996 by LucasArts. This was one of the early Nintendo 64 titles, and it acts as a bridge between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. You play as mercenary Dash Rendar, battling the Empire, taking on bounty hunters like IG-88, and even fighting Boba Fett. Because of course you end up fighting Boba Fett. Of course you do. It's a mix of third-person action, vehicle combat, and some platforming. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know this is one of my top 5 favorite video games of all time. I love Shadows of the Empire. It's fun, it's gritty, it's dark, and it's different. Now again, it was one of the earlier Nintendo 64 titles, period, so it does come with its flaws, but before we get there, it has a lot of good with it, which is why it's in my top 5 of all time. The game nails the Star Wars vibe. The opening battle of Hoth level is epic. You're in a snowspeeder wrapping tow cables around AT-ATs, and it feels straight out of the movie. The soundtrack is fantastic, and the variety keeps things fresh. On-foot shooting, speeder bikes, jetpacks. For its time, it was ambitious and immersive. Now the speeder bike segment, yeah, it's got flaws and some good stuff. We'll get to all that. Man, this game really set the tone really fast. It really makes you feel like you're part of the Star Wars universe. It's often called one of the best Star Wars games overall because of the unique story and multimedia tie-in with books and comics. Now again, I love this game, but it does come with a lot of flaws, especially a title that comes out in 1996, which for some of us was a long time ago. It's got some rough edges. The controls are floaty and unforgiving, especially for jumping and platforming. This can lead to a lot, and I mean a lot, of frustration. Camera angles are wonky, making it hard to see where you're going, and the save system is brutal. You only save at certain points, so dying means replaying big chunks of the level. The on-foot levels feel awkward sometimes compared to the vehicle ones, with poor level design that hasn't aged very well. Overall, it's a mixed bag, innovative for 1996, but clunky by today's standards. All that's true. There's some levels in there that, like, when you think back on it, you're like, ooh man, I did not enjoy that. Later on, we will do a deep dive of all of these games. This is just kind of a brief overview. This is kind of my main thoughts on Shadows of the Empire. Love the game. It's definitely got its flaws, but man, it is a game I will go back to time and time again. Next, we have Star Wars Rogue Squadron from 1998, developed by Factor 5 and LucasArts. This one's all about flight combat simulations where you lead a Rogue Squadron as Luke Skywalker in missions inspired by the original trilogy. Think destroying Star Destroyers, escorting transports, and ground attacks. Pure arcade-style space battles. So most of you have heard me before talk about this game. I love it. It is a game that set the tone. It's the reason I love the X-Wing so much, which I've actually done an entire video about Red 5 before. You should go check that out if you'd like to. But man, this game's fun. It's got a lot of pros and it's got a lot of cons. Let's talk about both. The pros are very proing? The things that make it great really make it great. It builds perfectly on Shadows of the Empire's vehicle section, with smooth, responsive controls that make you feel like a rebel pilot. The graphics were mind-blowing for the N64. Detailed ships, explosions, and environments that pop, especially with the expansion pack for higher resolution. The authentic Star Wars feel is off the charts, with voice acting.
Good morning, Wedge. The rest of Rogue Squadron is still back at base, but I thought we could take an early morning run through Beggar's Canyon.
This is General Riken.
Are you quite done?
Iconic music. And a sense of scale in the battles. Replayability is high as well, with medals to earn for better times, kills, and accuracy, unlocking bonus missions, and ships like the Millennium Falcon. All of that stuff is great. That's why we love that game so much. Something that came out in 1998 is still replayable to this day, but it does come with its flaws. On the downside, it can be brutally difficult and unbalanced. Some missions are a breeze, while others will have you restarting dozens and dozens of times due to tough objectives or cheap deaths. There's a lack of variety in mission types. It's mostly fly, shoot, protect, and no multiplayer, which was a missed opportunity. Graphics have some pop-in and fog, typical for N64, but it holds up better than most. If you love flight simulator games, this is a great one to start with. Maybe not start with, but at least try. It's a gem. It's something that you should at least attempt. It's an OG. You gotta try it. If you love flight games, this is a game you need to try. Moving up to 1999, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Based on the pod racing scene from The Phantom Menace, you play as Anakin or other racers competing in high-speed circuits across planets, upgrading your pod with winnings. Do I have all these games? Of course I do. This game, I still play, and I've said that about all of them, but that's because it's the truth. I play this game all the time. I love this game. My brother and I used to race each other on this game a lot. It was so much fun, upgrading the pods, on and on and on. It's a lot of fun. There's so many pros that come with playing this game for the first time ever. This one's a standout for its sheer speed and adrenaline. The controls are tight and responsive, making those hairpin turns and boost feel exhilarating. With 25 tracks and tons of racers, it's got great variety and replay value. Racing against friends and split screen multiplayer is chaotic fun. Sound design is top notch. With engine roars and crowd cheers, and the progression system of buying parts keeps you hooked. All of that is great, but what are the cons of this game? Because there definitely are some. The graphics have aged, with low-res textures and some frame rate dips in busier sections, thanks to the Nintendo 64 limitations. Difficulty spikes on later tracks can be punishing, making some races feel impossible without perfect upgrades. It's not super deep beyond racing, no story mode, really just tournaments. But for what it is, it's pure fast-paced joy. It's a great game. It definitely has its flaws, and it's very simple. But I think that's a part of the pro about it. I like that it's so simplistic. It's just your pod racing. Why does it gotta be anything extra than that? You get the added bonuses of doing upgrades, and who can forget Watto in this game? And then finally, last but certainly not least, Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo, released in 2000 by Factor 5 and LucasArts. This follows the Phantom Menace's invasion of Naboo, where you play as a pilot fighting the Trade Federation in various vehicles, starfighters, speeders, boats. It's huge for an N64 game, with massive levels full of secrets, branching paths, and hidden areas to explore. The vehicle swapping mid-mission is a cool twist, adding some strategy. Controls are solid, building on Rogue Squadron's engine, and the graphics are some of the best on the console. Detailed environments and smooth performance. The nostalgia factor is also super high if you love the Phantom Menace. And the variety of mission types keeps it fresh. Air combat, ground assaults, escort missions. It was such an upgrade from Rogue Squadron to what it became. Now, Rogue Squadron to me is the better game for a few reasons, and let's get into why. Controls can feel clunky in non-flying sections, like in slower vehicles. The radar system's limited, making it easy to get lost or miss objectives. The presentation is a bit lackluster, no big cutscenes or deep story, and gameplay gets repetitive, with similar shoot-'em-up loops. It's also super tough, with some unfair difficulty spikes. Overall though, it's kind of an underrated sequel to Rogue Squadron. It's a lot of fun. They finally added space battles, which did not take place in Rogue Squadron. However, it just doesn't quite reach the hype that Rogue Squadron hit. Red 5 versus Naboo starfighter pilot, it's just not the same. However, it's a great game, and I do recommend you try it. Woo! And that is it. That covers all of the Nintendo 64 video games. If I had to rank them, it's pretty simple for me. Number 1 is Shadows of the Empire. Number 2 being Rogue Squadron. 3, Pod Racer. And 4, Naboo Starfighter. However, all 4 of these games are great. I recommend playing all of them. I grew up with them all. I loved them, and I love them still today. Now, again, like I said earlier, we will do a deep dive on each one of these games. Each one will get its own video. We'll break them all down, all the things, but for right now, this is my brief overview of the Nintendo 64 video games for Star Wars. These are reasons why you should play them, and there's also reasons why they may not hold up so well today in 2025. There's reasons to love them all. Rogue Squadron for its polish and epic feel, followed by Racer for the thrills, Shadows of the Empire for its ambition, and Battle for Naboo, worth playing and capturing the magic of the prequels. All of these show off Star Wars in ways that influence games for years. So with all that being said, what is your favorite of these 4 titles? Do you have a ranking of them? Let me know in the comments below. If you want more breakdowns and deep dives on retro games or even some of the newer Star Wars games, you also have to let me know that in the comments below as well. You can let me know on X, Instagram, all the places, all the things. Let me know what you want to see next. My next thought on the gaming overall breakdowns for Star Wars will be GameCube. We'll just keep moving up the ladder, baby. We'll get all the way to modern day Star Wars video games if we have to. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and hit subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you stay up to date with everything that we are doing here at the Star Wars Closet. We have a video that goes out almost every single week. I love you all, and we will see you all in the next one.